Okay, our Facebook live stream is loading right now, so hopefully it goes a little bit quicker, but
It says on mine, meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
okay, sweet deal. Cool. Okay. How you doing, Miss Lar?
I am doing really well. You know, Wednesday came by very quickly, and I think that a lot of us have been consumed with living day to day as our air quality might change, as the smoke outside might change. And so I think the best that everybody can do is truthfully live day to day.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, literally day by day, I mean, whether it's on this side in East San Jose or where I live in Cupertino, depending on where the wind shifts, like it's really smoky or it's less smoky, but nonetheless, I think it's always to have um, good habits in terms of practicing safety measures, like wearing a mask is like especially important now.
Mhm.
Even though it's really hot, we've been having a heat wave. I think it's even the more important, regardless of how hard it might be.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that everybody should be taking care of their mental and physical safety first and foremost. And so, if you guys need anything, you know who to reach out to, your teachers, principals, me. We all have plethora of resources that you guys might need if you are in need in our community, in our Alpha community.
Absolutely. So moving on to the survey, yeah, you're right. It's been a week. It's been crazy. Just time flew by. We're already a week past the last session we had, the last discussion we had. So welcome to those that are joining in via Facebook. We will eventually have our YouTube channel up. It was planned to be working and operating right now, but unfortunately, it's still kind of I still need to get permission for it, I guess. And then eventually we'll post it on Instagram too. So we would love your comments, whether it's during this discussion or after on any of the channels that we put these videos up. But we definitely want to also encourage you to have those discussions with your friends and your families as well.
Mhm. Yeah, so this week we were, well, if for people that, excuse me, if people don't know, we are doing a mental health mini series on our school's values, which I absolutely love and think they're totally underutilized, which is why I wanted to relate them back to mental health. And last week we did talk about relationship and that value and how that relates to mental health. I think that talking about integrity this week was really, really important to understand relationships on a deeper level because as our students saw, they saw examples of me and you interacting with and without integrity. And I posed a challenge to students asking them, who would they rather be friends with? The Miss Lar that's mean or the Miss Lar that's nice? The Mr. S that talks to his friends with integrity or the one that talks with integrity. So or you know the opposite. But I think that our students really understood what we were trying to say in our lesson today around integrity and know that it's really important to have good healthy relationships.
And I think the one thing I will say, like, yes, Miss Laura and I know each other. A lot of our students already know me. A lot of our students already know Miss Laura on an individual basis as their teacher or whatever. So I want you to know that we are acting. So it might be funny for you to watch and like observe us and with different personalities and different roles. But when you're actually experiencing these type of things from people around you, it's hard. So we're really glad to see that the results and make you think about incidents where you might have experienced something like that, or maybe you've acted that way, and it helps you reflect. And maybe some of you just like pictured that happening, or remember the emotions that you felt when those type of things occurred. So we're really happy to see that you guys were able to internalize it.
I think, Mr. S, just to speak to that point, I think that when our students were watching me and you kind of either argue or put each other down, I think they saw a little bit of what they've experienced themselves, whether they've been bullied themselves or even if you've been the bully. I definitely, towards the end of the video, talk about why integrity is important to mental health because When you act in a way without integrity, you go home and you just don't feel good about yourself. Whether you think it or you feel it, you know when you feel guilty. You know when you've done something that might have hurt somebody. And after time, if you do enough things or say enough things without integrity, you start to put up the kind of a wall so that you don't feel bad about it. But initially, you do. And so, if you are on the path to acting without integrity, then, I'd really like to challenge our students and say it's not too late to go back. You can absolutely ask people for help. You can be vulnerable again and start participating with integrity in your relationships, which means trying to act with love, respect, and care towards others. I know that can be really hard sometimes, especially when you don't feel that from others. But in order to get it from others, you have to act it, you have to live it.
Absolutely. And speaking of, our survey talks about integrity. And for those of you that have never been to our campus, haven't seen the signs for the descriptions that kind of outline what integrity is, I'm actually going to literally look at my wall over there and read it off that. But one of our 5 values is integrity. All 5 are very important, but for the sake of our conversation today, we're going to focus on integrity, just like our survey. And it says, our words and our actions matter. And then the quote that's provided with it by Franklin Roosevelt is, knowing what's right doesn't mean much unless you do what's right.
Mm-hmm.
So it really, integrity for me, when I think of it, it's just doing the right thing. Whether someone is watching or not, I'm always going to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think doing the right thing is what makes people want you as a friend. We were talking about how someone might act without integrity, someone that maybe like jokes too much. They put your friends down. Maybe they even lie. They'll be like, oh no, I didn't take your chips. Sorry, but you really did. When you act without integrity, it's honestly not that surprising that some people might not want to hang out with you, because do you want to hang out with people without integrity? It kind of gets tiring. It doesn't feel very good when someone's continuously putting you down. If you currently have friends that don't act with integrity, I would be worried about your mental health, because you want to surround yourself with positive people who are going to be kind to you and say nice things to you. And that's going to make you want to do more of that in return.
Absolutely. It makes me think of like real life situations. I think the way my parents and my family brought me up, like doing the right thing is always got rewards. Not that you're seeking out rewards, but just by the first thing that you receive is like, man, this feels good to do something for someone else. And whether it's, for my family members or for my friends, when I'm doing something right, it just feels good. And I think some of the examples I think of, like, this world may seem crazy and we can't really trust anybody, but sometimes when you see someone that needs help, you're like, man, can I do something? Do I want to do something? Should I do something for them? And some of those cases have been like seeing people on the side of the road when they have like a flat tire or they're having car issues. There have been times when I've seen people with one of those issues, and I actually was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull over to the side and go out there and help them. And one time there was a gentleman down the street from my house that his car battery had died. I don't know if you've ever experienced that before, Miss Laura. I have, and man, you can't really do much. So you have to push the car. So you put the car in neutral and help the car and the person or the passengers get out of the way of any potential trouble in traffic. So I helped this lady move her car off the street so she can be in a place that's safe, and call whoever can help her with a tow truck or a mechanic or whatever, or a friend to pick her up. And it felt good. Like, they were really nice, they really appreciated, and then I went on with my day. So those are the type of things, like, I'm gonna do what's right because I know it's right and I want to do the right things. At school, we're not on campus, but in the past, we see students all the time. Scholars are doing a great job of showing integrity by picking up trash they see on campus and throwing it away. or when, during PLT, if something happens, someone trips and falls, like we see students helping each other and motivating each other. Those are all great examples of doing things that are right. And even in online classrooms too, when you notice that like someone might be confused, like, I don't know how to do this, like, can you help me figure out, whether it's like actually sharing them on camera, or maybe showing like a poster or something like that, that you've been, or your classwork that, okay, this is how you solve it, or chatting it. Those are all great examples of doing things that are right rather than wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate what you said about doing the right thing, even when no one's looking, because there might be an intrinsic reward, meaning that it's internal. It feels good to you. An extrinsic reward might be owl tickets. It might be some, if you see there's a missing cat in your neighborhood and it's $100 reward, part of you is like really motivated by that $100 reward. And if that's why you do it, then, sure, that's okay. But then also you will probably feel good for having reunited a pet and their owner. So there's definitely going to be doing the right thing, saying the right thing. And when you do both of those things, I think that the reward is that you feel good about yourself.
Absolutely. And that great brings up a great point. Like some people might not just, do it because they think it's right. They might think of the, rewards that you gain from it. But I think ultimately you realize that the internal rewards that you get for yourself actually outweigh or greater, and you feel better about actually doing than what you received like physically in person. So I think that makes it all the more better, and it really brings out the great humans we can be.
Yeah, I do appreciate working at a place like Alpha and having Alpha students that really understand the meaning of integrity. A lot of people that filled out our mental health form and survey were talking about, yeah, I want to be friends with people that are nice. I want to spend time with people who have integrity because they're going to be respectful. They're not going to put me down. So our students absolutely understand. And if you create a whole community of people like that, where everybody is open to helping, open to listening, they're not going to put you down or make you feel bad, then you show up to school your genuine and authentic self. You can trust people for not putting down your thoughts and your feelings. And there's going to be people who aren't, who are going to continue to judge you. And I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, but you also can't control what other people do. You can only control yourself. So if somebody's acting towards you without integrity, your options are to just not have a relationship with that person if you don't want to. If somebody's acting or talking in a way without integrity and you don't want to have a relationship with them, don't feel bad. It's your right to be treated well. And you who have integrity can only control how you act with other people in relationships. And you can't, completely control what other people do. So I really want to empower our students to create a culture and a community where we are reciprocal in our integrity. I show up with integrity and so do others, because then it creates a really positive cycle.
And I think you covered like basically a lot of those questions that you posted in the survey too. Like why or why not would you want to be friends with someone that's showing integrity versus someone that's showing that it's not showing integrity?
Totally.
And really the benefits that you gain. Well, some of the benefits. Honestly, that list is really long.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't all covered, but a lot of times we just go to these benefits. But in the question, like, some of the selections were people will trust me, people will believe me, people will respect me, people will spend time with me. So those are, hopefully I didn't give all the answers away, Miss.
That's okay.
Those are a few really powerful benefits to having friends that show integrity. And not only friends, but families, and even the most random stranger. Like I said, when I come across people that I think might need help, I think they'll appreciate you too. And whether they show you or not, like, I think they internally do. So it's very cool that you brought these questions up, and it made me think of really the last question there too as well, like what words could you describe an individual
Mhm.
that has shown integrity? And some of these words that were provided are like kind, patient, caring, generous. Like, man, those are all just like adding more to what the benefits are of like who you are as
Totally.
a person, who you can be, what type of person you want to be. But more so as well, like even if someone's not showing integrity, and like Miss Lar said, if you don't want to be friends with them or you don't want to have some sense of a relationship with them, I think it's okay as well. But I think
Mhm.
it's important how we communicate with integrity too. Like,
Great point.
are you telling them like, look, I don't want to be friends with you, and that, and leaving it at that? I think the right thing would be to do is to tell them, look, I'm not friends with you because this is what happened, this is what it made me feel, this is what you did, or this is what you said, I took it this way, so I want to make sure you know that's the reason why, and I'm sorry, but I can't take any more of that. I don't think it's healthy for me or for you, and this is why I feel this way, this is why I'm going to end it, and so on and so forth. So not only is it just the words we speak, but are also our actions.
That is such a good point. I really appreciate you saying that because communicating why you don't want to continue a friendship or relationship with them might sound like weird at first when you're in middle school. You're like, I'm just going to ghost them, I'm going to stop talking to them. But what actually happens is that you're depriving that person an opportunity to learn what they could have done better in their, in their relationships. It's feedback, and feedback is a really big value that we have as teachers at Alpha. But what it looks like is kind of looking at yourself or hearing from others, like, why don't people trust me? Why don't people believe me? Do sometimes people not want to spend time with me? Are some people annoyed by me? Would they maybe describe me as selfish, mean, rude? And these are not things that have to define you forever. They're just defining what's happening right now, how they're experiencing you. And if somebody comes to you and says, I'm not really enjoying the kind of person you are, I thought that was really mean when you did that, I think that's giving, it might be hard to hear. It will be hard to hear, but it's important, because if I didn't get that feedback from my parents, my friends, my family saying, Larissa, that wasn't nice for you to say. Now I know. Now I know that's not okay. Now I know what that hurts somebody's feelings. So I think that feedback piece, that communication piece is really important to building better relationships with integrity.
Yeah, and I think the one of, honestly, unfortunately, one of the common things on the flip side of things when someone is not showing integrity in terms of feedback is when you start talking with others behind that person's back. And that can be very hurtful. I mean, especially if the news gets out for the person you're talking about, it hurts them. You get a bad reputation and image. And not only that, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're going to start doing that as a habit potentially, and you're potentially actually doing the same thing with the people you're talking to about it. It's
Mhm.
worsening the situation. It just gets, it's almost like a virus. If we've been hearing and seeing on the news that, and when you get exposed to it, it spreads. And man, it can be really, really bad. You can get into a very deep, deep hole when it comes to those type of negative interactions, and in that way of just bad feedback. So
Oh,
you got to
totally.
watch yourself.
Yeah, totally. A lot of our students said that they would want to be friends with someone with integrity because you could be honest with them. And I think somebody with integrity is going to receive that kind of feedback, say like, I'm really sorry that I treated you that way, if that's what understood was what happened. But also being honest means having uncomfortable conversations with someone instead of talking about them. Actually, I got some really great advice once that was, you talk to the person you have a problem with, not about them, because that's how the problem continues to grow. And so, and when you do talk to someone that you have a problem with, you're not going to go up there with fists up, ready to start a fight. Somebody with integrity wants to solve their problems. And so, in order to have a better relationship, the goal is always to have a better relationship. Will fighting create a better relationship? No, it will not. But if you want to have a better relationship with someone, then you can talk it out, or you can let them know this is why you won't be continuing a friendship with them.
And I think, yeah, that's really hard and awkward. And
Yeah.
you have to try to contain yourself and just, have composure. You're steady, you're strong, but you're not too like offensive or anything like that. But I think, whoever is involved in the discussion, you got to refrain from trying to like, like when dogs bark at each other, like bark right back. They don't hold themselves back. They don't restrain themselves. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, in our culture, not only in this country but across the world, we tend to, especially online. This goes not only in person but conversations we have online. We don't control ourselves as well, and we just like to embarrass each other and try to bring out all the negative points and bash on them. We want to cancel them out.
Mm,
And I would say my tip is like if someone's talking, as hard as it is to listen, as much as you may disagree, give them the floor to express themselves completely. And then in reverse, in return, that person should give you the same type of space for yourself to react to it in
hmm
a respectful manner.
hmm
So yeah, giving each other time and space, regardless of how uncomfortable, how sensitive it may be for you, is so important to make sure the the discussion actually moves forward rather than backward.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so thankful that we're able to have these discussions. I think that our students are really open to learning, and not just open to learning more about mental health, but like the social aspect, how we interact with each other, because how we interact with each other absolutely takes a toll on your mental health. Relationships might, teach you who you are, how you show up, whether you show up angry, defensive. They're super important. And so, with our students being open to our lessons, which is really great, open to hearing our conversations, I think that if you are interested in becoming a better person, continuing to be a positive person that contributes positively to your relationships in the world, then we're really lucky that we have this type of support.
So as we close today's session, I always want to throw in a plug for the owl ticket challenge that you put in there.
Mm-hmm. The Owl Ticket Challenge this time was actually to go back into a second video and list the reasons why students oh wait, do you have it? I forgot.
I do have it. It says name one example of how to speak with integrity, and you gave a hint as well.
Yeah, so I had it in the slides while we were talking in video too. I can tell you some ways that you don't talk with integrity, which is to judge or brag or be jealous. And so those are ways that you talk without integrity. Or comparison. I didn't put that in there, but a lot of times comparison is a really ugly thing to do that we get into the habit of. Which can be very difficult to maintain integrity during that. So my challenge to our students was to define the ways that they can talk with integrity. And the answers are right there. So if they just took some time to go back into the video or, you know, remember it, then yeah, they would get the owl ticket for integrity.
Awesome. Yeah, owl tickets are out there, and you guys, with those owl tickets, you can buy so many things, even in the virtual setting. Obviously, one of those is still present in pieing your teacher in the face, and my fifth graders love the idea of that. So it's kind of hurting me, but I know it's going to be around the corner. And in the virtual setting, I don't get pied by a student. I have to pie myself. So that's even more like, okay, whatever. So, but
No
it's
one else is
for,
around with you.
yeah,
You're just crying your face.
exactly. So it's for, you know, our celebration to students earning owl tickets.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different rewards too. So really want to encourage you. We want to really encourage you to keep earning those owl tickets in all of your classes. So with that, remember integrity, our words matter and our actions matter. On top of that, I would say a very simple thing is to simply think before you speak, think before you act. And if it means like an awkward pause, like just like Let me think about that. Okay, this is what I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just like right off their lips, just say it or do it. Not always the best decision. It's not always doing what's good and right. So I would say just pause, think before you actually say something or do something.
Yeah, make sure that that pause is going to give you a moment to decide what is the best course of action that's not going to hurt others, hurt yourself, and is going to be intentional to help you out in your, in your future. Truthfully, every decision that we make adds up to our future. And so if you do take a moment to pause and try to figure out what to do after someone does something, even without integrity, that pausing moment is going to help you do better for you.
Absolutely. So if you have any questions or comments, you want to reach out for whatever case, please make sure to reach out to your teachers. And if anything, please reach out to Miss Lar. Again, we have our Instagram. We will soon have our YouTube page. We have our Facebook page up. So once these videos are posted, please feel free to comment or reach out or message or DM us on any of those platforms. Right now, Instagram only allows 10-minute clips, so you only get a chunk of our discussion, but we invite you to actually come live to our sessions so you get the entire discussion, and you can also interject with your comments as well, and we'll try to get to those comments and or questions.
Cool.
All right, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Bye, Miss Lar.
Bye, everyone. Take care.